Every successful organization begins with its people. At Incredible Workplaces, we help you build workplaces that inspire, engage, and endure. Recognition starts with certification. Our globally benchmarked evaluation celebrates organizations that foster engagement, inclusivity, and innovation. Certification is more than a badge. It's proof that your culture empowers people to excel. Through consulting, we partner with organizations to transform cultures, strengthen leadership, and build workplaces that adapt, innovate, and thrive. Your story deserves to be heard. With our employer branding solutions, we showcase your culture through featured videos, exclusive events, and media spotlights, ensuring you attract and retain top talent with pride. From recognition to transformation and employer branding, our services create workplaces that inspire people and elevate businesses. Are you ready to transform your workplace into a beacon of excellence? Partner with Incredible Workplaces today.
Thanks a lot, Incredible Workplace, for this recognition. Thank you.
Proud to be Incredible Workplaces.
I'm proud to share that MB Informatics has been certified as an Incredible Workplace.
Feeling proud to be recognized as Incredible Workplace certified.
Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to each one of you joining us today for another powerful episode of Voices That Lead by Incredible Workplaces. Now, let me start with a simple thought. Every organization wants high performance, but not every organization invests in building trust. And the truth is, you cannot have sustainable performance without trust. Because when trust is high, people speak up. Team collaborates better, leader inspire confidence, and that is when performance is not forced, it becomes natural. Today's topic, creating high trust, high performance workplaces, is not just relevant, it is critical. In a world where change is constant, expectations are evolving, and talent has no more choices than ever, right? They have a lot of choices on their plates. And organizations are there who want to work on building those kind of workplaces. But with trust being intentional, culture being consistent, is when leadership is doing an authentic job. And that is exactly what we are going to explore in today's topic. We have an exceptional panel with us today, leaders who are not just talking about culture, but actively building on it. First, we have Captain Vipul, Director HR, GA, and IT at Misumi, India.
Hi.
Hi,
Thank you, Vibha. Hi. First of all, good afternoon and Jai Hind to everyone. It's a pleasure once again to be part of this panel and the discussion. We'll be taking it forward with lots of enthusiasm and happiness. And I hope by end of it, we all have something to take on from this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain, for joining us, and thank you and Jai Hind for serving our nation. I'll just give a brief about you to many who haven't known you till now. Captain Vipul Sharma, he's Director HR, GA, and IT at Misumi, India. With a unique blend of military discipline and corporate HR experience, Captain Vipul brings powerful perspective on building structured yet agile teams and aligning people's strategy with operational excellence. Welcome, Captain, once again. It's great to have you with us. All right.
Thank you so much very much.
Next, we have Mr. Sethu Madhavan Raman. He's Cluster Director, People and Culture at Accor. With deep experience in the hospitality industry, Mr. Sethu Raman focuses on creating employee experiences that directly translate into exceptional customer outcomes. Welcome, Mr. Sethu Madhavan. Delighted to have you here with us today.
Thank you. A great evening to all the panelists and the people who are watching us live. And like Captain, it's good to see Captain Vipul there. I've been part of the armed forces with the Indian Navy for 15 years.
Wow, that's
happy to connect.
Wonderful. Thank you for serving the nation, Mr. Sethu.
It's a pleasure, honor, I have to say.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have Ms. Sadab Khan. She's Head Human Resources and Organizational Development at Bharat Rural Livelihood Foundation. Shadabs bring over 2 decades of diverse experiences across the development sector, corporates, and social enterprises. She has led strategic HR initiatives spanning talent management, culture, and organizational development with a strong focus on building high performing, people centric workplaces. Welcome, Shadab. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you, Vibha. Thank you for inviting me to today's session. And I look forward to the session today and also to a mutual learning experience. I feel that, we'll all gain as we talk about our experiences and how we deal with different situations in our respective organizations, etc. So great to be here today.
Thank you. And I just want to add that, Shadab is very new to Incredible Workplaces family. We recently met, and in a couple of interactions, I knew how wonderful lady she is, always motivated, cheering up people. And I could not stop myself on, inviting her on the stage because I wanted her to share her experiences with the audience and people to learn from her experience. So thank you, Shadab, for joining us.
We're glad to be part of the session today. Thank you.
Okay. And finally, we have Mr. Devesh Kumar Singh. He's director at Torting Auto Private Limited. With over 2 decades of experience, Devesh has led large-scale HR transformation and brings deep expertise in industrial relations, governance, and building high-performance culture. Welcome, Devesh. We are glad to have you with us.
Good evening, Vibha and the panelist. This is really truly a very important topic because the trust is important to any performance. Trust is important for any governance. Trust is important for any introduction. And I believe the panelists, those who have served the nation and those who are serving the nation like us, can create a better agile environment in the condition where it has been fit into requirement. And welcome to all the panelists, welcome all the viewers who are going to share their views, and our views may match their requirement and the requirement which is really expected from us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you again to all the speakers who have joined us today. Let's get started into the conversation now. And I will start it with you, Captain Vipul. You have a very unique combination of military and corporate experience, right? Where trust is not optional, it is essential. With your experience spanning in military and corporate world, trust often gets built under pressure. There is a lot of pressure, when you are talking about trust. Can you share how leaders can build trust in highly structured environment while still driving agility and performance?
I think this is not only a very important question, but a very difficult thing to be on. I would say that trust is not a soft HR metrics or a soft organization metrics. I think it is the hardest assets to build upon. For organizations, let's make a comparison between armed forces and a corporate for a while. In armed forces, wherein your goals are clear, where your organizational objectives are clear, where there is a sense of regimentation running in the veins. Similarly, in corporates also, it is very important that the culture, which is the most integral part of any organization, it has to be the best and the most performing asset or a resource. When organization has an immaculate culture, which if we let's say talk about the values, it focuses on innovation, it focuses on empathy, it focuses on the customer, and it drives the behavior of manner that they all feel part of the organization and induce in them the spirit to be a very strong soldier, or let's say very strong corporate employee. That's why it is most difficult. If we talk about the leaders, how they can display these values, I think the first and the most important trait is walk the talk. So whatever you say, whatever you are sharing in terms of the meetings, in terms of emails or the circular or the organization values, you have to live by it. Therefore, it is most important quality that you walk the talk. You live the values and the ethos and the culture of the organization. And the second most important trait, if I should say, is in the present world where external environment is very, very fragile, or you can say it could be demotivating, be it the external political environment or the external environment in terms of the job, because the things which are pressing issues are highlighted. So therefore, it is very important that the leaders should be very empathetic towards all the employees. And because I would like to add on many points, it's just a start. So I would say that considering the organization's success, it is very important to make every single employee successful. Continuous learning for their development and making a very strong organization sense of belonging in each one of them. If we are able to achieve this as a leader, we have a good start and then we can build upon it. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. I think that was wonderful sharing that we should not just talk, we should walk the talk, right? People learn from the leaders. You have to display those values for people to understand how it is happening. And my one question that I want to ask you, when you worked in forces and now when you're working in corporate, what is one single thing that works in both the, both the areas, be it military or be it corporate?
Again, you are posing me a tough question here. So I should say, I think one common factor is wherein in armed forces, your aim is to achieve success for the organization, for the country. In the organizations, it is for the company. So all the effort should be dedicated towards betterment of the company, be it the goals and objective of the organization, and be it living the culture of the organization. In armed forces, it is very much acceptable in terms of the standards which are displayed in each and everything. If we can replicate this model into companies as well, which is not easy because there you have nation and its pride. So if company and its pride could be made the foremost, then I'm sure it could be. But yes, the aim is same, leading towards the success of a country and in this case, success of organization.
I agree. I think everybody should understand that they are working for organization school, right? At times people feel that if their manager is giving them something, it's just, they are not doing some personal favors to their manager, but they should understand how they're contributing. And maybe those are the communications line that has to go to the people on the ground, that they understand how their single effort is, working towards the goal of the organization. And then trust. It's very, very important that you trust your leader. And trusting your leader is not something that will come from downline, but leader has to build an environment where trust is foremost. And people know that if my leader is saying something, there is a reason why he or she is saying certain things to be done. I think you want to add something to it.
A very quick point. So I think we would agree when we join the regiment after our training. So it's a very good value in armed forces that we are made to live with our Jawans in their barracks, eat the food that they eat. So everything is from bottom to top, the learning. So for men, you should command the respect first. I think similar should be the trait, whatever may be the designation or appointment of an employee. We should all go through it to understand what they feel, how they feel. And once you're there, then once you command their respect, you will automatically command the organization. Thank you.
Love that point. And I think one example that I want to share here is in one of the organization, I saw that, there were cafeteria facilities, right? Everybody gets tea, coffee, whatever. And then green tea word came into existence, right? But what happened, that green tea was for certain level of managers and executive in the organization, not for everybody. And we felt, no, this is not right. Why you are differentiating? That's not the right thing to do, because you are breaking the trust. When you are doing things grade wise or level wise, you are discriminating. These are the things that should be open and available to everybody. So these small things at times create a lot of trust issues in the organization and hampers the culture, and at times question the existence of the culture in the organization. All right. With that, I'll move on to you, Mr. Setu. And to you, my question is, you work in the hospitality industry, right? Where trust plays out every single day on the front lines. In your industries, employee behavior directly impacts customers' experience. And how do you build trust at the frontline level so that team consistently deliver high performance?
Yeah. In fact, you mentioned about sustainable performance in the beginning when you did the intro. Sustainable performance is also one of the values of Accor. Trust, respect, innovation, and sustainable performance, and so on. So how do we do it? Right from day one when we hire an employee, irrespective of the level, we tell three things for them to imbibe, and we have a notion called HEARTist. It's a very unique concept for us. We say everybody is an artist, and we all think from the heart for the guest and for the employees. So heart and art makes it HEARTist. We ask employees to be curious, to know about people around them, whether it's the staff or the guests. Be curious to know about them, understand them. And also be open-minded to accept the differences or the uniqueness in every person. And also to be authentic when you make a connection. We want people to make genuine connection. When you're able to do this, that is where trust builds in. And once the trust builds in, when we are able to delegate tasks to the employees, we see that directly impacting the guest experience. In fact, we have metrics to measure guest experience scores, and Accor beats our competitors in terms of guest experience. We do much better every day. So trust has a direct impact on the guest experience.
Very well said. And I think every one of us will relate to it. The kind of experience that we have when we, get into any hotel for that matter is, how we are treated, right? So there are at times staff who try to make ends and want to do everything to make the experience one of our best experience, and at times be it big hotels, they do not worry about how the guest experience is. So sadly, but yes, how your frontline workers have the experience totally depends on that. So I love that concept. What did you share about it? Is it HEARTist? Oh, loved it. Great. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Shadab, coming to you. My question to you is, in impact-driven organizations where teams often work in challenging environments, how do you build trust across diverse and sometimes remote workforces?
Well, thank you for asking me this question, Vibha. I think it's a very, very important factor, especially when the organizations are working in the field. Building trust in that impact-driven field-intensive organization requires a sort of intentional design, I feel, and consistent leadership behavior, and especially implementation of strong systems where teams are geographically dispersed and working in complex environment. So from my own experiences of such organizations, whether it's Bharat Rural Livelihood Foundation or Jan Sahas or Vision Spring, I feel that there are few factors which we can take into account to build trust. So first being that fair and transparent people system. If we strengthen that and employees see consistency in how decisions are made, then implementing a structured performance management, clear role definitions, equitable policies like the as you mentioned, earlier in the conversation, policies shouldn't be different for when people are in the field and when people are, or hierarchical. So when people see that there are similar policies, there is consistency, and there is no differentiation or discrimination, then I feel that a lot of trust is built. And then having that clear communication with team members, aligning them to the common goal, telling them what is expected from the role, having clear job descriptions, that is important. Then in terms of communication, a lot of the time organization has to focus on creating the structured communication rhythms, like regular leadership connects, transparent updates, clear articulation of priorities. And I feel that for the impact driven teams, it's very important to have local empowerment with central alignment. So trust grows when field teams feel the ownership. By empowering regional teams and maintaining alignment with organizational values and goal, we create a balance, autonomy and accountability. So I feel that that is also very important. And I feel that in all of the scheme of things, leadership plays a very important role. So if leadership is going to the field, then the field team will feel connected. If they're there, if they're listening to the problems that they face on a day-to-day basis, that is when they feel that they can also reach out. It's easy accessibility with the leadership, and at the same time, in case they have any issues, they can go and talk to the leadership about it. Like one of the incidents I remember was when I was working in Vision Spring during the COVID times, both wave 1 and wave 2. So during wave 1 especially, because there was this massive lockdown and there were few people working, and field teams, especially like us in healthcare, they were there, focusing more on other people than their own health. So Vision Spring had a 200 plus training session across geographies, especially to build that leadership connect and engagement with teams in the remote context. That brought in people together during the hardest of the times, and that kind of established a lot of faith and trust in the or people and the organization. And I feel, because we are talking about impact and we are talking about field and different geographies, listening mechanisms is very important. So we need to have strong feedback loops, engagement surveys, grievance redressal systems, informal check-ins, and being there for the staff. So if a person in the remotest of area can reach out to me for any issue, I think that's how we have established that kind of trust. So having that connection with the team, giving them that space, giving them that authority, that ownership, I think that plays an important role.
Thank you, Shraddha, for adding that. I think all valid points, how culture plays a very important role. Many a times I think there are organizations who doesn't understand how culture will help in building their business. They think culture is just talk thing, but not really. Culture doesn't mean that you have to be so friendly with your employees that even if they are doing blunders, you are open to accepting those blunders. I think culture is when you are taking hard decisions, but in a right manner, maintaining the integrity, maintaining the dignity of the team member, right? That's what culture is. And when you do it right way, I think the negative impact of those hard decisions will not be as much as you feel that it would be. Rather than, I have seen there were layoff situations, right? A lot of big organization, and we have been reading through those news and everywhere, where employees are just informed that there is a layoff, their role doesn't exist. There are no proper communication. They have been working for years in the organization with a lot of trust and talking that how great the organization is, and nobody even spoke to them. I think that's not the right way. People need respect, right? They have to be treated with dignity, and that's where culture is important. And that's what we do at Incredible Workplaces. When you said we have to build listening systems, right? We have to empower employees. That's what we do, right? That's what we do through our surveys. That's what we want to let organization know, that how even smallest step of theirs will help them build a great culture, which is going to boost their productivity, their revenue growth, and how it is how it is very important for any organization. So thank you for adding all those points. All right, Devesh, over to you. My question to you is that, from your experience, I have seen that you have worked extensively in complex, multi-location and uni-ionized environments. We have been talking before we came to live session that you have been working through different states and how your experience have been. So from that experience, in large or multi-locational and where environments are uni-ionized, trust can be difficult to sustain, right? Because there are different kind of workforces you work with. What has worked for you in building trust during challenging situations like negotiations or organizations change?
Thank you, Viva. It's a very typical scenario when there are unions, multi-militant trade unions, and supported by the state government of that organization or that state. And in context, unionized and multi-locational environment, trust is not built through the intent. It's required a consistency, transparency, fairness over time. So when I joined a different company, I started my career from the jute industry, textile industry, unorganized sector. These are totally labor-intensive technique. And the people are lungi dhari or chappal dhari, and their understanding of organization is different. Their expectation from the organization is different, and the owner mindset was totally different because of the Babu culture. And the textile industry is totally established by the British culture, British organization. So, उस mindset को if you want to break this, you have to reach out to each and every employee, not in the office, but at the workplace where they are working, to listen them, to understand them. They are understanding about the temperature there we are working, the welfare facility what we are giving, how they are facing problem outside the office, because every problem start from their home and they reach out to our facility. So I started talking to them, reach out to them, though I was not that leadership position, I was welfare officer, so-called. And our job is at that point in time, the concept was we are the dalal of management. But I started working with the employee, talking to them, creating a department which is called Hum Saath Saath Hain, so that they can reach out and talk, not in the situation where we need to talk, but in the situation where actually generally people can talk to me and reach out to me, speak out to me, talk about the family, so that they can understand and take it me as a family member. So about 8,000 employees in the unionized environment when 16 unions were active, where one of the leaders having a 45 sons in their home, children in their home. We have to manage the entire educated versus non-educated and the leadership quality which we are having in the jute industry. So education, timely bonus, timely salary, we are having organizing sports, reaching out to the club of that area because Bengal has different culture. So there were so many clubs are working nearby vicinity of the textile industry. So I reach out to all of the club also so that they have a person who can mentor their children, their spouses. There any problem related to any problem related to the company, I have built a work committee where the grievance can be settled at the single point of contact. This is a unified environment. I worked in Adani. I faced the same problem when then CM was leading. All the industry of the Haldia industrial area was closed. My Adani Wilmar plant was working very smoothly because I've already communicated with the union in advance, which already I understand that the transparency and communication and reaching out not required a timeline. नहीं अभी बात नहीं करेंगे बाद में बात करेंगे. No, you have to be communicable easily at any point of time so that your organization and employees should not suffer. It's a simple concept. HR should not be the empowering agent, enforcement agent. HR should not be the enforcement of policy. HR should be a person who belongs to the HR only. It belongs to the business side. If the transparency and trust build, you can implement, you can make a change, you can transform the industry at any cost and employee will support. Second part is my multi-locational job. I've been part of Sodexo HR. I've been part of the Compass HR. I've been part of 4 facility. I am part of the OCS, 24 state and 3 union territory, 43,000 employee, 180 HR. about more than 20 people in training, more than 50 people in recruitment. We have to communicate each and every team around the corner. People are in Kalahandi district, people are in a 130-mile nautical mile offshore, people are in the Tripuram, and you are sitting in Mumbai. How to communicate, how to reach out, how to build a trust is what a challenge. So having a clear conversation, reach out, connecting people like Nokia, बात करोगे तो बात बनेगी Airtel. This was my logo. So not only to empower the leaders at the regional level, it is also required to reach out from the top level to every person. Because in the sites like Tata, Toyota, everywhere we have 500 or 300 to 500 employees. No HR is there. Operation people are there. How to support them? To make them understand how employee is important. To make them understand how employee, those who are working in 8 hours in your AC environment, they are a housekeeper. They are going to stay in 16-hour environment in different conditions. So you have to reach out to them. You must have a speak-up policy. And that policy is very much clear about everybody possibility. We have to have a very cost-clear policy. That means every employee woman can reach out us immediately. We have to have the policy. We support each and every employee and in their hand so that they can understand what is their requirement and how they can do it. My only thing is that our HR leader, being an HR leader, I feel our job is not finished at 6 o'clock. If an employee we got any information in Corona time, we have extended all the information, and for the God's sake, we have God grace, we have only one fatality. Out of 43,000, well, we have been saved for that. Why? We have number of things we have implemented to reach out to the support to the employee of the organization and their family. So my only thing is that we are not for 9 to 6. We are always for the employee. Even when employee or a team is writing at 9 o'clock and you are watching that somebody is writing in WhatsApp group, please pick up the call. Don't wait for each question to come. Then you can ask one question because people have only one department that is called HR. So trust is built. High trust cannot be on even performance side. This performance is not due to we have to wait for the annual performance to come. If you want to have a trusted performance environment, start delivering proactively, asking him what support you are looking for. What is your status now? How you are potentially doing it? Yesterday I was hearing Siva Shankar. He was telling one thing: performance, perception, and politics. Don't use for the politics our employee. Only thing is that every time they are looking for your support, and you being a leader can decide and support your team so that they can always pass the message to the entire organization how you can build a department. So even performance appraisal, I believe that in month-wise, daily-wise, you can guide your team accordingly. They will guide their own team, and this go to the last level, even the housekeeping level, in the frontline worker level. Recently, we have seen in my last organization, I just give an example. We have introduced in 2002 a PIP, Performance Improvement Plan. You know what people started thinking? This is the termination plan. So where is the trust? The performance improvement plan is only to support him on day-to-day basis, how he can be improved and can be successful in organization. So I believe in any organization, policy, process, everything is okay. Thing is that you have to connect to the employee with a different names like hottest. We have a dost, we have a swagatam. So many things we can have to reach out and deliver to the last leg of employee from the scene. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Devesh. I think making employee feel welcomed every day when they are at the work, they should feel that, why they are there. You touched on important points of, policies. And I've seen in many organizations wherein, you're working with blue collars and all of that, we just have policies on papers, but not many are aware. I think having those communications with even blue collars employee is very, very important, wherein they know what policies exist. How are these policies empowering them, right? So awareness of those policies also helps in building culture. So first thing, if the organization is not doing so, they should have structured policies in place which are compliant, as well as, if you have an eye for culture, then a lot of things for culture aspect as well. HR is often seen the one who drives everything. Not true. That's not how it should be, right? The onus of driving things should be on the leaders of the organization, of the teams. Managers should be the one who should be accountable of driving these HR initiatives in their teams. So having proper sessions with those managers so that they are aware of what happens. Most of the time, for one manager, it is different. The other manager thinks it is different. So having those kind of communication, having those kind of awareness session for the managers is important, and then making them accountable of driving it them in their team is something that organization should always look into. Great, thank you, Vipul. I'll move on to you again. And when we were talking about manufacturing, and you have big manufacturing setups where discipline and accountabilities are very, very critical, right? What has worked for you in creating a culture where people feel trusted, yet remain highly performance driven?
Okay, I think it's relevant to all the industries, to be honest. But if we're talking about particularly about the manufacturing industries, so we all try to develop our initial formula for the things, how we are going to go about. We talk about 2 points, trust, and second is high performance. Thanks to all the esteemed panelists, I was also jotting down certain points, what I have done and how I should be doing. So even if we talk about the trust portion, I think in the setup, it is very important that we care about the most the 2 points. One is when we hire an employee's first day and the employee's last day, and then the steps in between. So the trust is beginning in the organization. Once we are hiring a new employee, what we show it to him, how we share our organization and make him part of the organization. Let's say it's making him a part of the family. So what he sees in the culture, he imbibes. So we have to make him unlearn the previous culture we've been part of and maybe learn the newer one. And similarly, once the employee, if we talk about the exit process, that is also because we see that only, many companies, we just spoke about it, that, they just treat the exit process in a very haphazard and non-empathetic manner. So it is, we should be aware that the person who is leaving it's being seen by all those who are there in the organization, and it leaves the impact on them. What kind of impact we want to have on the employees who are serving? It will be seen when how we treat our employees who exit. Similarly, in between, if we talk about how to develop trust, what I have been personally following is that one is comfortable listening. Any employee coming to you, you should, the entire HR team, or let's say the stakeholders or management or their managers should give them a very comfortable and empathetic listening. Then they should understand the situation from a very empathetic and organizational point of view. Then he should be very transparent about what we have, what we don't. And then he should ensure that action is taken on the subject grievance or query or a suggestion, and to communicate back. This is what I have practiced in all these 5 points. I practice in that order. So once you have heard him fairly, also give him feedback for what could be done. Then we talk about high performance. I think many ideas come to my mind. The first, Vibha, which you spoke about, is the policy communication and the compliance. Now, I would add to it, now we can effectively use AI tools in communicating our policies. So there are things which are being developed in an order that employee can just type the questions, whatever they come. They do not have to go through all the policies. They can just quickly check on what are their queries. So we have to effectively use AI as a tool for policy communication and ensure the compliance. Second thing is connection, which is the bridging the gap between management and the employees. The easier said than done. As you said, that just like a green tea, it should be there for all. Every single employee is watching everything. We should have that transparent policies and in terms of transparent practices in the organization. then developing leaders and grooming them for future roles. It is a very important second. It cannot be just by the conventional method. You can also employ unconventional methods. Of course, empathy, as I say, the most important thing which every organization should have. And then we have to find newer ways for innovation to get the high performance from the employees. Innovation is the thing that the courses which you are doing today will not be relevant, particularly in the IT industry, as we see, they might not be relevant in the future. Then we should have a very simplistic performance appraisal mechanism so that, again, which will ensure high performance. I find this portion very complicated performance appraisal mechanisms, and if the newer employee who is there in the organization for a month can understand it, I think everybody can. So it should be very simple. And then the last is our focus should be on retention and attrition. We should have, just like contingency plan, we should have a plan A, plan B, plan C. I think I have tried to cover all the points in terms of being in a manufacturing industry, any industry, how you can develop trust and at the same time get high performance from the employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Vipul. Thank you for having point details. I think this is very, very helpful. And additional to what you said, I want to mention this point that, at times org structures are not in place. You have business units, but to drive these initiatives that you said, you need to have HR, okay? And for that, your organization structure should be such that, you can place your HR team in a way that they support the business in the right manner. So that's one thing that I wanted to add. All right, moving on to some audience questions, and I would put this up for you, Mr. Setu. And this is from Neetu, and she asked that how do you create a culture where accountability and empathy coexist?
Yeah, accountability and empathy, obviously it has to coexist in an environment if a business has to thrive. The best way to put this across is, do people feel psychologically safe?
Mm-hmm.
And how do they feel? So are they allowed to do mistakes? Is it okay for them to allow to do mistakes? Because that will help them to innovate. If there is no innovation, then there is no psychological safety. So there is no empathy. So accountability has to be there. And how do you drive accountability? Is to train them. First, hire the right workforce, train them. They should be able to do the job without supervision at some point of time, but hold responsible for their actions. But also if they do mistakes, empathize with them, be with them. That creates that respect, that bond, that trust, eventually leading to any organization success.
Yeah, thank you. And this reminds me of a very short story that I want to share with all my audience here. And this was about one of the team that I had in my previous organization. I was their HR business partner, and this case came to me. So this was a team which was highly dysfunctional, and there was a new leader who came up, right? At times, the acceptance of having a new leader is very, very difficult for the team members because they are used to working in a certain manner. And because there is a lot of dysfunction in the team, it becomes very difficult to, handle those teams. So the manager, we worked out on some plan. And I want to share that if any one of you in the audience, if you are having dysfunctional teams, there is a very good book called 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Read through that. There are certain practices and exercises that you can put back to your team, and it is going to really help you. So what we did, we planned out a practice that every Friday we are going to bring the team on the same table, ask them that what didn't work for them in the week, what is that one mistake that they feel that they have made. Initially, there was not a lot of inputs that come through because there was a lot of hesitance in sharing the mistakes. Because the culture was such, because the prior leader might not have given that kind of exposure where talking about mistakes is okay, right? And having that empathy in the leadership is very, very important, which is for sure. Now, initially it was not coming out, but after a certain time, people came on those calls and they started sharing what was one thing that they didn't do well, and from there they started practicing the things that really helped in team performance, right? People were open because this was very clear. If you're coming here, if you have made some mistake, doesn't mean that you have done something wrong. It's okay to be making mistakes. That was the culture, that was the empathy that was given, and they clearly said that there is no judgment on you if you have done something which is not done in a right manner. And when that culture existed in their team, they become more productive than ever, right? Their productivity came tenfolds in such a short span of time. And that's the where leadership impacts. The empathy in leadership is very, very important in creating a culture where people are open, where they trust each other, where they have no fear of judgment, is when they would be open to speak, collaborate, and learn from their mistakes and the mistakes others have committed in the team. And that's how the performance really speaks. So these kind of cultures are very important. I have more questions from the audience, and Shadab, I'll put this one for you. Dimple asks you that how do you ensure consistency between what leaders say and what they do? At times, they preach a lot, but they do not practice. So how do they ensure that they are consistent in what they say?
I think one of the ways in which this can be achieved, where the leaders remain consistent in, saying or expecting, and what their behavior is, if they are living through the organizational values. So they imbibe organizational values. They expect the others also to imbibe those, and they also live through and create themselves as an example. And by that, let's say, I give you an example that when I say living the value, one thing can be that maybe in my organization one value can be having a culture of high performance. So when I'm saying a culture of high performance, I am the first one displaying that high performance and putting this as a value in front of my team and rest of the teams, and then I am expecting that. So I think clarity, transparency is how it can be achieved, but the leaders have to be the role model and examples themselves of anything that they are expecting from the teams. In fact, the teams will take it more seriously when they see that their leaders are like that.
Yes, very well said. And I, again, want to share some things. I've been fortunate enough with working with great leaders and great organizations where culture were almost always at par. So, for example, how do you ensure that leader exhibit those behaviors? Is when you let people know what actually these values mean. If you are doing X, you're delivering this value. If you are making this decision, how are you keeping value in your mind? So having those kind of examples. So, transparency and communication is one thing that can be must. Leaders should share those stories. If you have newsletters in your organization, bringing people who have displayed those values should be on the spotlight so that people understand, okay, this is how it happens, right? Maybe I know the values, but I do not know what my action will ensure that I'm living up to the values. So showing those stories is something that is very important, and communications with the team is also going to help in such situations. All right, Mr. Devesh, for you the question is, Akash wants to understand that what leadership behaviors have the biggest impact on building trust at scale? Any behaviors of leadership that you would want to highlight?
Actually, currently I'm working in an organization called Trotting Audio Limited. There is no organizational setup currently. It's a very new organization, and it is headed by Captain Samaris, from Army background. So the biggest impact he started with living with his own value, cultural value, which he learned from the Army background. And the same thing like discipline and about the employee should be treated as a human being, as a family. And he always comes to the, whenever he visits the branches, he always talks to the last leg of the employee. So that the employee, the leader, those who are following him, those who are looking at him, he always must understand that our importance lies with all the team who are working there. Even he asked for his family background. He asked for, have you got your salary? What is your daughter doing right now? Oh, your daughter has done 90%. Oh, Mr. India, come here. So he will ask his CEO to come and talk to this guy. Do you know his daughter has scored about 90%? No, sir. Why should not know? So these are the things he inculcates not through the any policy written document, but the way of dealing with the people. The same way, I believe when we have started in jute industry or even in the industries where literate people were there in Adani Wilmar, we reach out to each and every employee on the Friday. And we ask, what you achieve? Because in entire week, we always know that every department comes to us, oh, tumne ye galti kar diya. You have not done this. There is a problem. There is a situation. So we have started and asked every department head to have one achievement day. That day he should tell that how he achieved. What he achieved, not only about the what he achieved, how he achieved this, whose support he achieved this. So once the leader has started targeting that achievement day, other things which comes out, why we have not achieved that, everybody is cross-functional organized. So my only thing is that when even CEO, I have seen the CEO has joined, but nobody has talked to him for the 1 month. Everybody watching him, why CEO, he is going to deliver, he is going to write KPI, he has to understand work culture himself. No, my understanding is that even the CEO is employee, is a human being. He is coming to the company, he has to be hand-holding, and he has given a company cultural detailed discussion how he can drive the entire company with the company values and mission. So I believe starting from top to bottom, communication, transparency, time taking, giving a good thought to any leader, any employee, this will give you a good feedback and good leadership quality in a good work culture anywhere, it is IT, manufacturing, or hospitality, anywhere. Human beings should be given respect, and basic things should be given more important to them, so that they should not be scary about basic requirement, but they should think about how he can deliver better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, one more story. All right. So in my last organization, it was a US-based IT organization. And when I talk about culture, a lot of things has come from that organization. Our CEO, he was such a value-driven leader. I cannot tell you, like the kind of leadership he had is like fantabulous. So when I joined in, I was very new to the organization, and in a couple of weeks, he came to India, right? So I had seen his picture, but I haven't got a chance to meet him, and I got to know that he's going to come to the organization. Now, usually what a CEO does is he'll come, he'll go to his cabin, sit there, have his meetings and all of that. But when he entered the company, he entered through the reception, the kind of energy, I just heard a great laughing sound from somewhere. I turned my head around and he was there, laughing all around, giving such a positive vibe in the organization, going to people's desk and meeting them. Hey, I'm David, right? He's introducing himself, not as a CEO, but just as an employee of the organization. I love that way. He didn't go and settle down in his room. Rather than he came to everybody's desk, shook hand, and introduced himself. What a great way of CEO telling that, we are all same, right? And I have seen the kind of spirit people had in that organization. They wanted to work for him, for the organization. So the kind of trust people had on him was fantabulous. Like, anything he would say, and he would make sure that if there is any decision that is coming through, they will tell that this is what we are doing, and not only why, but they will tell how and why we are doing. Why behind was very, very important. So great leadership. And I think, Vipul, you have something to add on this.
Yeah, I think you make me live certain moments which I have seen in my life. I'll go by Sir's example, how he said, like CEO's example. So nobody met him for a month. I think this is something which we face in organization every time. The people who are joining in the senior positions, particularly, now you are expecting them to turn around the culture. You are expecting them to do wonders for the organization. First, make them understand what is the culture of organization. Make them understand how the things are. Make him a part of family first. Everybody, he should be able to speak to everybody. That is one. So yes, at a senior level, you really need, and I think same is for AI also. I think senior leaders need to be trained in AI first. I recently, my wife, who is also working as a HR head in a company. So she told me their CEO is taking some AI course from IIT Madras. And now he's telling, teaching everyone, how Claude works, how can Claude be useful in the organization. The second thing is what Sir said is, this asking about families or, asking about everyone. This is a part of, army culture. And I think it should be there in the corporate culture also. So whenever we meet, even this is what I also do. And I think Sir can also share that even in Navy or Air Force, we just ask about, okay, how about everybody in family? Who all are there in family? So people find it sometimes personally intriguing or, we are trying to be intrusive in corporates these days. But this is how we are. We always ask them, okay, kaun hai family mein? Because the thing is, even in the corporate, why it is valid. So sometimes employee, he's just moving around and most of the time he's giving you a nod and wishing good morning. Sometimes he's not. They said, hey, wait a minute. What's wrong with you? Something wrong with you? And I can tell you, I'm bang on 10 on 10 on this. Something is wrong with the person. So now how he can work productively until and unless he has that thing, right? Third thing, because time is ticking, so very short example. I was 26 and I was posted in 26, 27, I posted in Firozpur, unmarried. So I heard one of a Jawan who is talking to his wife and he was having some trouble. I said, what happened? That's how trouble ho raha hai, hamara divorce ka baat chal raha hai. I said, kya hua bata? ऐसे उसने बताया, कहता, can you speak to her? I said, okay. I spoke to her. I spoke to the lady. I spoke to the father, her father. And then I said, problem kya hai? Isa quarter nahi mil raha. मैंने कहा, okay, मैं तुम्हारा quarter का वो अर्जी करवाता हूँ. So I made sure he gets a quarter. His family moved. The happiest day of my life was I was driving my bike and I saw the husband wife in the rickshaw sitting together, and I think could have worked. I was just a youngster, not even married, and giving the advice. So this is an extent where you should go, even in the corporates, that you make it, professional success begins with if you are happy as a person coming to the company. This is I would just like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Vipul.
One example I can say about the exit process Captain Vipul, you have mentioned.
We have to be very, very quick because we are...
Simple. When the people are leaving, if he has not been even terminated or dismissed, I think we should give a good chance to hear about. Because ultimately he is a human being. He may have some mistake he has done, but his family is waiting for his earning. So my belief that give him some more. Even give him, if he's not at all as a notorious guy, give them a reference check from your side, so that he should be your man. I believe human being is not required any data-driven decision. It's required a human decision, and if your E square is equal to H square always to be there, ear and eye is equal to head and heart, that will give you fulfillment altogether. Thank you.
Very well said. And I think at times, trust comes when if somebody has made a mistake, you are not putting a blame, rather than taking it okay wise and giving a solution to that problem. And we have great leaders in incredible workplaces. Our CEO, Mr. Govind Negi, happens to be a great leader himself, and that's the reason the trust people have in him, the trust that organization, the team members have in him is commendable. Like if anybody has made a mistake, they will not hide it. They will straight away go and share that, hey, I have done this mistake, because they know that from the other side, I'm not going to get some thrashing, but I'm going to get some solutions. So that's the kind of leadership our CEO also demonstrates, and that's why we are so happy working with incredible workplaces and helping organizations to create incredible workplaces as well. All right, we are very close to closing this session, but before I move towards closing, I would love to hear one quick thought, and very quickly that too, in one line. What is one leadership behavior that is building trust and drives performance? Any behavior. So, Mr. Setu, maybe we can start with you very quickly in a line or a word.
Trust and respect.
Shadab.
Giving dignity to each employee. I think that really matters.
Yeah. Captain Vipul.
You see Govind Negi sir, and you see his reflection in all of you, Vibha, Neetu, Krishna, everyone, and you see why HR Success Talk Incredible Workplaces is doing wonders and it's becoming so successful. Thank you.
Thank you. We resonate.
I think
Yes.
first we have to be being in a human being, you must respect human being. So it starts simplicity that as a human, we must respect human at all costs.
Yeah. And that's what I keep saying in every webinar I do, that let's not make things complex, right? We
Yes.
do not bring too many complex jargons, policies, processes. Make it simple, right? We are dealing with humans and not machines. So that's what everyone should understand, that make it simple, and you're working with humans, make it more human. Thank you so much to all our panelists for such a rich and insightful discussion. And thank you to our audience for being part of this conversation. If there is one thing I think many of you will take away today, it is trust is not built through policies, right? Every one of us agree to that. It is built through everyday actions. So whatever actions we are taking every day, be it leadership or any team member in the organization, it is built through that. And when trust is strong, performance follows. We look forward to bringing you more such meaningful conversations through Voices That Lead by Incredible Workplaces. And with that, have a very wonderful evening ahead. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Shurman. Thank you all.
Thank you.
God bless you.